Today's MetroNews television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
While recent rain has brought flooding to parts of West Virginia, other areas like Charleston still have a need for moisture, behind average month to date by over 1.5 inches, year to date by over 5 inches. So the latest drought monitor does show improvement from recent rain. Severe to moderate drought persisting in many areas. This map, it's worth noting, does not include any rain that fell Tuesday afternoon through Wednesday. That won't make a big difference in southern areas, but Elkins to Clarksburg near Morgantown, we could see some spillover improvement into the next map, potentially. However, across the state, a very dry stretch ahead. Broad high pressure to our north is going to continue to keep things very clear tonight into Friday and for much of the rest of the forecast. So the areas that have received too much rain recently will fortunately get the opportunity to dry out. However, areas where that need for rain persists, we will likely see worsening drought conditions in the coming days. FlyCRW forecast, it starts at home. That same high pressure system keeps things clear if you're traveling toward D.C., Chicago, New York, but some stormier stretches towards Atlanta, Orlando, Tampa, Myrtle Beach. Panhandle to panhandle forecast, upper 40s looking north tonight with clear skies, then topping off with 77 New Cumberland, Moundsville 79, some nice sunshine, closer to 50 looking east overnight, then highs brushing towards 80 for Martinsburg, 82 Petersburg. We will find 47 for Elkins tonight, Ripley at 49, and then highs here ranging from mid-70s to low 80s. Ending looking south with 45 for Marlinton, a little cool there tonight. Williamson holding on to 55, then highs in this stretch in the mid-70s to low 80s. Overall, near average temperatures and dry daytime forecast each day.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Five, three,
Red 57! Red 57! Hot, hot!
I don't believe what I just saw. Bill McKenzie hits a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land-grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
Hi, everyone, and good evening. We welcome you into a Thursday edition of the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. Brad and Greg with you here in Morgantown. Coach Hunter, welcome, and good evening to you.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Great. It is beautiful outside. Picture-perfect weather as we get ready for the NCAA Regional coming up tomorrow with West Virginia, and we're going to talk about that coming up here in just a bit. We're going to be joined by Jensen Lewis. Jensen's a former big league pitcher for the Cleveland Guardians, and he is also on the call for ESPN this weekend in Morgantown. So Jensen's going to join us here in just a bit with a preview of the regional coming up tomorrow. We've also got softball to talk about. Kyle is in South Charleston. He's standing by with a live update. We're going to go to him in just a matter of seconds. And, of course, we want to hear from you. 304-8255-304 is our text line. That's 304-TALK-304, and we'll get into your text coming up a little bit later in the show. But without further ado, let's head down south where we're joined by Kyle Wiggs in South Charleston at the girls' high school softball tournament. Kyle, good evening. Welcome in.
We appreciate it. I've got Coach Bubba Hedrick of Petersburg with us, and we're sitting here watching Glenville State in the Division II World Series. Unfortunately, the Pioneers trail Missouri Southern 4-0. and they're in the 5th inning of play there, and I'm sure you guys will have details on that. First of all, Coach, good evening.
Hey, thank you. My honor to be with you guys. It's great to be with you on a beautiful day here in South Charleston.
Well, it's great because your team's 2-0. I'm going to take a minute really quick and get people caught up because obviously, man, what a difference a day makes in terms of the weather. It rained all day yesterday. Your game was delayed many, many times, and in fact, we had to postpone the final 2 games scheduled for last night. So we were 2 games behind, and we had elimination games in Double-A first thing this morning. Midland Trail beat Weir, and Independence beat Lincoln. Midland Trail 7, Weir 1, and Independence beat Lincoln 9-5. So Lincoln and Weir are the first 2 teams out. Then we had the winners bracket games. Logan, a 1-0 winner over Oak Glen, and again, a brilliant pitching performance today by Miley Atkins. She threw a no-hitter yesterday. Today, a complete game victory. Not quite as dominant. She struck out 9, but she pitched Logan past Oak Glen 1-0. And then, Coach, your game, you beat Sissonville 9-1. I definitely want to talk about that, but we need to talk about last night. And I know as a coach you've already put this in the past and moved on, but what you guys did last night was incredible, trailing Lincoln 9-0. And you came all the way back and won that game 14-12. So have you ever been involved in anything like that before?
Absolutely not. What a brutal start to that game. Just an inning and a half, and you're down 9 runs. And, I mean, how do you respond to that? It was a combination of the weather. My pitcher, Gracie Carpenter, who pitched today for us, struggled last night with a wet ball. Didn't seem to have it early. There were a couple, I'll be honest, a couple questionable calls that we didn't go in our favor. Some timely hitting on their part. And, again, you're down 9 runs. But we kept telling our players, and they know this, they've been gritty all year. Long way to go, long game. Don't give up, and they didn't.
Yeah, and your team has hit the only 2 home runs of this bracket so far. Ella Chu last night, 4 for 4 with a walk, a home run, and 8 RBIs. So she almost single-handedly brought you back.
Absolutely, and Ella's ball was a bomb last night. That's kind of been characteristic of our team this year, just being able to hit the ball, put runs on the board, and it's been in pretty much a lot of our games. We put the big numbers up, and then we play really strong, solid defense, and that carries our pitching staff to a lot of wins this year. But Ella again had 8 RBIs. That's a career right there for some state tournaments. Yeah, much less one game, and she had the biggest hit. It wasn't really the home run ball. That was big. But we had bases loaded, and she had a bases loaded clearing double that put us up finally in the 6th inning, and we got back to that lead. And but again, the kids just never quit. So proud of them, and our fans, they hung in there, and it was just we were talking about how wet we were and soaked, and makes you kind of grouchy and edgy. But man, we survived it.
So you beat Lincoln 14-12 last night, and then that momentum carried right into today, and you defeat Sissonville by the run rule 9-1.
Yeah, and that's a great win today for us because we've heard so much about Sissonville and their region and their pitcher, and we know they're on the young side, but kudos to their pitcher for a great year. But we had a scouting report on her, and I really felt like our hitters executed well today and put some hard balls in play.
Another home run, Miley Tingler with 5 RBI today.
Yeah, Miley, and I thought her ball was a bomb today, and she's been big for us. She leads our team in home runs currently, and she's been the big stick in our number 3 hole, has put up a lot of RBIs, and we rely a lot on her. And nobody plays the game any harder than Miley Tingler. So big hit today for us. And, man, when you jump up 4-0 in these type of games, that puts a lot of pressure on them, takes it off of us. And so we manage that right off the bat.
So Petersburg's 2-0, and one more quick one, I'll let you go. Just to set the stage here, we've got Midland Trail and Sissonville playing now. That's an elimination game. It'll be followed by Independence and Oakland. That's an elimination game. But the SSAC wants to try to catch up as much as they can. So you're scheduled to play Logan tonight. It's going to be a late one.
Yeah. Well, we're changing our plans. We didn't have that in the schedule early on, and we were notified of that. And I know why they're trying to get back on schedule. So providing that these two games go kind of on schedule and it's not real late, we're going to be playing. And I just got finished talking to the girls after the Sissonville win, and we know this one could be your state championship game, because you want to win this one to get to tomorrow where somebody has to beat you twice. So it's a big one.
Yeah. Logan and Petersburg, that one late tonight. Who knows, 9:30, 10, 11 o'clock, but we'll be here and we'll get it going. Coach, congratulations on the 2-0 start in the tournament. Thanks for your time.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Good to visit with you. Head coach Bubba Hedrick there in his 22nd season with Petersburg, and he's got his team off to a 2-0 start here in the Class AA bracket. Greg Carey of WVMetroNews.com is going to join us real quick, and we're going to get an update on the Class Single A bracket, as Greg has watched all the games in Single A. I've watched all the games in Double A today, and Greg has watched the games in Class Single A. We've had some great action in Single A today as well. Greg, good evening.
Good evening, Kyle. How you doing?
I'm doing well. We're trying to get caught up.
Yeah, we like you said, it's what a difference a day makes.
Right.
It's, haven't seen many clouds today, and we're going through here at game number 5, I believe, in each class of 7 to be played.
Right.
So we're staying on schedule. But
all right, give us the lowdown on what's happened so far today.
Sure. Yeah. In the first game, Pendleton County took care of East Hardy 12-4, and pretty clear that the Wildcats' game plan was to put the ball in play. That led to some really costly defensive miscues on the part of East Hardy, but aggressive base running, a lot of small ball, and Pendleton took care of business, scored 4 in the third and then 6 more in the fifth to end that game early, and that was an elimination contest. So kudos to the Wildcats, because they took a disappointing 1-run loss to Wheeling Central yesterday in a game that they had a late lead in, so they were able to move forward from that at least this morning and bounce back in the second game of the day, which was also an elimination contest. A bit of a controversial ending, but Greenbrier West hung on for a 6-5 win against Ritchie County. The Cavaliers prematurely celebrated what they thought was a game-ending double play. Turned out the first baseman had her foot pulled off the bag. Was the correct call, and Greenbrier West coach told me as much afterwards. So they had to cut the celebration a little short, which is obviously always a dangerous, you're kind of messing with karma there, it seems like. But got the next batter out, held on for a 6-5 win, and that ultimately eliminates Ritchie County, which goes 0-2 as the number 3 seed. And then on the winner's bracket side, it was another dominant performance in the pitching circle from Olivia Kioski of Wheeling Central. She goes 5 innings, no strikeouts, pitches to contact, only allows 4 hits, no walks. The defense behind her was sensational. Wheeling Central led Wahama 1-0 through 4 innings and then exploded for 9 hits in the 7th. Looked like the White Falcon starting pitcher Gracie Banks was wearing down a little bit. She threw a complete game shutout yesterday in the game they won against East Hardy, but much different conditions today. A lot hotter, a lot tougher to pitch, and Wheeling Central took care of Wahama in that game 8-0. And then in the most recent contest, a scoreless game through 6 innings between Mann and Sherman in another winner's bracket matchup, and ultimately a single from off the bat of Sophia Phillips in the top of the 7th inning gave Mann the 1-0 lead, and then freshman Mia Johnson was able to close out the complete game shutout. The Hillbillies, who at one point this season were 6-7, stay in the winner's bracket with a 1-0 win over the number 2 seed in Sherman, and that will allow Mann to play Wheeling Central later tonight in a winner's bracket game.
So we got Sherman and Pendleton County now going on?
Yeah, and that game is 3-2 behind us here. Pendleton just held on to the lead, got out of a little bit of a jam with 2nd and 3rd, and they are leading 3-2 in the 4th inning.
Greenbrier West against Wahama coming up next, and then the 2-0 teams, Wheeling Central and Mann, late tonight. Greg, good information. We appreciate it, and again, trying to get caught up. We're going to get this done on time on Friday.
That's right. Hopefully it stays just like this.
Very good. Thanks.
All right, no problem.
Greg Carey, WVMetroNews.com, covering the single A bracket on the website, and all of those stories are there. Well, guys, that's a big bite out of your show, but I think it's important to get people caught up on what's going on here. And again, play-by-play, radio play-by-play of all the games at WVMetroNews.com. and we're here through the championship round tomorrow.
All right, Wiggsy, we'll reverse this for tomorrow night. We will be at the baseball stadium for the NCAA Regional. You're going to host the show from down there, so you will call and check in with us. But we've got a bunch of baseball and good weather ahead along with the softball, so thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, there he is, Kyle Wiggs, checking in from South Charleston with the high school softball update. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we turn our attention to the NCAA Regional. A starting pitcher, Coach Hunter, was named today by Steve Sabins. We'll tell you who and why the decision was made coming up next on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. Hey, this is Brad Howe for your local internet provider, CityNet. Fiber is now at your front door and even in rural areas and communities across West Virginia. Thanks to broadband expansion funding, your tax dollars helped make it possible. And CityNet turned that investment into real connections for local families and businesses. Now, you can get blazing fast fiber internet with free installation, free equipment, no long-term contract, and local customer support that's always close to home. Don't settle for slow or no internet for another day. When it's high-speed internet you need, CityNet.net connects, protects, and perfects.
If a fire occurred in your home, would your smoke alarms work? Don't wait for a tragedy to find out. Smoke alarms are designed to give you and your family the precious seconds you need to safely escape. Test your smoke alarms every month by pressing the test button until the alarm sounds. Depending on the type of battery in your smoke alarm, you may need to change the batteries at least once a year or whenever the low battery warning chirps. And never remove the batteries for any reason. Remember, having working smoke alarms is not only a good idea, it's the law. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal's Office.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline
Returns in 2 minutes.
on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
What does it mean to lead in medicine? J.W. Ruby Memorial Hospital is the top hospital in West Virginia. Nationally recognized for 3 programs in 18 procedures and conditions. But to us, leadership means being first in care, in lives saved, in lives restored. In medicine, we lead in the ways that truly matter.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the road.
Download MetroNews Television on your iPhone or Android. Search MetroNews Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
You've heard the buzz about CityNet Fiber expanding across West Virginia. Now you can check your address, choose the plan that fits your needs, and even pick your preferred installation window. Visit citynet.net. And remember, CityNet connects, protects, and perfects. We've got ESPN analyst Jensen Lewis coming up here in just a few minutes. He'll be on the call this weekend here at the Morgantown Regional. But we're also keeping an eye, as Kyle mentioned, on the Glenville State softball team competing in the World Series. Today is Game 1. They are underway. And, Greg, what's an update there on the Lady Pioneers?
Bottom of the 5th, Glenville State trails Missouri Southern 4-1. Pioneers loaded the bases with 1 out last inning, got a run in, but it seemed like an opportunity to get more and really cut into this deficit. Only got 1 out of it, though they didn't have a hit the entire inning and haven't had a hit so far in this game. But now going into the bottom of the 5th, they trail 4 to 1.
Okay, well, let's do this, because the biggest no-no in the world of sports is when someone is throwing a no-hitter, you do not mention it. So did you just say the opponent is throwing a no-hitter there?
Yes,
Glenville's opponent, they have a no-hitter going?
They're throwing a no-hitter? I think it's been said.
Okay, there we go. Let's see if we just broke it up right there by speaking it into existence. All right, we'll get back to an update on Glenville, hoping they can find a way to get this Game 1 underway. But even not, it's a double elimination tournament, so they're not out of the tournament. This here is just Game 1 for the Lady Pioneers. All right, let's talk about today. Greg, you and I both spent some time over at WVU's practice, and then there was a press conference immediately following the practice where Steve Sabins spoke, Brody Kresser spoke, and Chanson Cole came out for the press conference. And I think you and I both did kind of a double take there, because the question coming into tomorrow night was who would get the start. West Virginia has multiple options here in the starting pitching rotation, a great luxury to have. We have talked about it all week. What would Steve decide to do? The answer was decided when Chanson came out for that interview session, but we've got our answer. It's going to be Chanson Cole pitching Game 1 against Binghamton. And I thought Steve addressed this really well and made the exact points that you thought he would make in explaining why Cole over Max Yale.
First and foremost, you want to respect every opponent that you play. You want to absolutely make sure that you're putting your team in the best position to win every game, because beating Binghamton is the only thing that matters, right? That's the focus, is like find a way to win Game 1. Max Yale's bounced around. He actually got moved up a day to pitch in that conference tournament. And then we moved him back to Game 2 this week. He's going to pitch the second game. For him, it's been about strategically managing the rest and the workload throughout this season. So we thought leading into this postseason run, we really wanted to give Max a little bit more time. In my viewpoint, and there's a lot of data out there about pitching your ace versus pitching off and those kind of things. We're in a little bit of a unique situation, because to say that Chanson isn't an ace wouldn't probably be fair. I think he was the number 2 or number 3 pitcher in the entire Big 12 out of 14 teams in our league, and Max Yale was 1. He was the pitcher of the year, but both of those guys have just been tremendous. So when you're looking, you basically go through each of those teams, and you just want to make sure that you're not making some egregious matchup error, like, well, Wake Forest or Kentucky or Binghamton hit lefties at a 150-point clip higher, or they slug, or their 3 best hitters are world beaters against right-handed sinkers or something like that, right? So you do that prep work on the front end, and then you just line up for what you think gives you the best chance to win the regional.
What a great luxury to have for Steve Sabins. As he said right there, you're not talking about the 2 best pitchers on your staff. You're talking about 2 of the best in the entire Big 12 in Yale and Chanson Cole. I like the decision, and he's obviously been thoughtful about this. And listen, nothing's guaranteed, as we know in sports and certainly in baseball. But if Chanson Cole can go out and do what he does, and you can get a win tomorrow to start this thing, and you come back and you have your ace and Max Yale ready to go for Game 2, man, what an advantage there for the Mountaineers potentially.
Yeah, and it said Chanson Cole is much of an ace, really, if you look at this thing in totality, as is Max Yale. I think the only controversy would have been if you'd gone way off the board and tried to pick your 4th or 5th or 6th starter and try to slide through this game.
Agree with you. And so that's the decision. You'll see Chanson Cole get the ball first tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern, coming up against Binghamton. All right, we're going to take an early break here so that we can have some time with Jensen Lewis, former big leaguer, ESPN analyst. He's on the call for the regional this weekend. We'll get his preview not only of West Virginia, but of the other teams in this region, Wake Forest, Kentucky, and Binghamton. Coming up next on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
Answering a text or phone call while driving. Seems pretty harmless, right? But in the 5 seconds you took your eyes off the road to respond, you missed the girl riding her bike across the street. You missed the dog who darted into the road. And you missed the stop sign. And while it was just a ticket this time, it could have been worse. In fact, more than 700 people are injured in distracted driving crashes each day. Keep yourself and others safe. Don't drive distracted. Just drive. This message was brought to you by the West Virginia Governor's Highway Safety Program.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide sports line
Returns in 2 minutes.
on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
Today's Metro News television forecast is brought to you by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. We sell family fun.
While recent rain has brought flooding to parts of West Virginia, other areas like Charleston still have a need for moisture, behind average month to date by over 1.5 inches, year to date by over 5 inches. So the latest drought monitor does show improvement from recent rain. Severe to moderate drought persisting in many areas. This map, it's worth noting, does not include any rain that fell Tuesday afternoon through Wednesday. That won't make a big difference in southern areas, but Elkins to Clarksburg near Morgantown, we could see some spillover improvement into the next map, potentially. However, across the state, a very dry stretch ahead. Broad high pressure to our north is going to continue to keep things very clear tonight into Friday and for much of the rest of the forecast. So the areas that have received too much rain recently will fortunately get the opportunity to dry out. However, areas where that need for rain persists, we will likely see worsening drought conditions in the coming days. For ICRW forecast, it starts at home. That same high pressure system keeps things clear if you're traveling toward D.C., Chicago, New York, but some stormier stretches towards Atlanta, Orlando, Tampa, Myrtle Beach. Panhandle to panhandle forecast, upper 40s looking north tonight with clear skies, then topping off with 77 New Cumberland, Moundsville 79, some nice sunshine, closer to 50 looking east overnight, then highs brushing towards 80 for Martinsburg, 82 Petersburg. We will find 47 for Elkins tonight, Ripley at 49, and then highs here ranging from mid-70s to low 80s. Ending looking south with 45 for Marlinton, a little cool there tonight. Williamson holding on to 55, then highs in this stretch in the mid-70s to low 80s. Overall, near average temperatures and dry daytime forecast each day.
Welcome back in. CityNet statewide sports line. Brad and Greg with you here on this Thursday night. We're live in our health plan studio. The health plan provides health coverage options and has been the most trusted carrier for over 40 years. All right, let's continue our NCAA regional discussion, and we're certainly pleased to be joined by former Cleveland Indian pitcher, co-host of VSiN's By the Books, which airs every morning 7 to 10 Eastern, and he's the analyst this weekend for ESPN for the Morgantown Regional. Jensen Lewis is our guest. J. Lou, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Good evening, guys. Great to see you this afternoon, and excited to get this thing going tomorrow afternoon as well.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here in Morgantown, and let's just start there. Your first time over at the Kendrick Family Ballpark. You walked away from today's practice session saying what about the stadium?
Chamber of Commerce weekend in effect here, guys. This is great. As a native Ohioan, we've been nothing but a deluge of water and rain for the last several weeks. So nice to see sunny skies and 70 degrees. And it looks like the ballpark will play pretty fairly. You know, talking with you guys there and just kind of getting the lay of the land, how the ball travels, especially to left field and kind of where some of those hitters, especially from the left side, might be having an opposite field approach. Definitely a key to watch for the three visiting ball clubs. But let's face it, it's all about the Mountaineers getting that host position and knowing what those percentages are when you are those national hosts and what that conversion rate is, not only getting to super regionals, but also having the opportunity to move on to Omaha. Off to a good start here as the one seed here for Morgantown.
Well, let's say that. You have given that stat, and I purposefully did not say it yet tonight. I saved it for you. It was your stat. So let's go ahead, give us that number, and then let's start there. Let's start with the hometown Mountaineers and what you see for them and what is considered, Jensen, I think you'd agree, one of the more difficult regionals across the country. So kind of handicap it from a West Virginia perspective.
Yeah, no question. I mean, just overall, guys, when you look at regional hosts advancing to super since 1999, 66% of those regional hosts do advance, and then 70% of super regional hosts advance to the World Series. Now, obviously, that would entail UCLA being matched up here with the number 16 Morgantown Regional, having to bow out there, and then obviously as a national seed, West Virginia would have the inside track should they move on here through the weekend to be able to host there for a super. But first things first, regional winners who win their opening game are 93%. So if you are one of those teams that not only goes 1-0, 82% of regional winners started 2-0. So that all-important win not only in game one, but then in the nightcap there at 5 p.m. on Saturday, being able to win that 1-0 game, that puts you in the driver's seat here, at least by the percentages. Now, as far as the club goes, we obviously know it to be Chance Cole tomorrow, and then Max Yale will get the start there on Saturday. And I got to tell you guys, and you've watched plenty of it here throughout the year, it's built on pitching, it's run suppression, and it's being able to close games out. And with that last 10 games and a pretty stellar record here at 8-2, obviously falling to Kansas there in the Big 12 tournament, you feel that momentum is on Steve Sabins' side here. This club feels confident. Talking with some of the players today, there is a calm composure, but I think a confident one. And why not? With what it looks like from a fan base perspective, guys, we are in for a treat, especially for the hometown advantage.
So, Jensen, give us a quick look at the other three teams in this regional, starting with the one West Virginia will face tomorrow in Binghamton.
Yeah, I think, honestly, when you look at where Tim Sinicki's club is, this is a team that I had last year in the Athens Regional, and this is a club that's been to regionals 3 of the last 5 years. They were the regular season champions in the America East and also in the tournament. And so it's a club that not only is going to have some resistance, from the pitching side, you're going to see a pretty high velocity guy tomorrow in Connor Griffin. And some have said, and I think even Coach Sinicki had told us in our meeting today, all 30 major league clubs have had at least a scout in to see, this guy and this ace, the Friday night guy here for Binghamton. So not exactly the biggest command guy, but the stuff is certainly there. And I think that's the challenge, is being able to kind of drive up the pitch count a little bit of Connor Griffin and then be able to get into what is a little bit leaner bullpen here for the Bearcats. So as long as West Virginia can get out to a little bit of an early lead or at least try and drive up a pitch count there, I think they have the upper hand. And Binghamton will certainly need to try and find some early offense of their own to be able to close it out.
That's really interesting, Jensen, and you know this well, being a former big league pitcher yourself, but that's why, and we've heard Steve Sabins talk about it. He talked about it today in his press conference about the respect you have to show every opponent, because baseball's so driven by that guy on the bump, and you just mentioned it. They're going to bring a guy out there that has great stuff, and that could change the game in any moment. So just because you haven't heard of Binghamton necessarily, you got to respect the guy that they're rolling out there to start this tournament.
And I would say the top of their lineup, too, guys. Everything starts with Matt Bolton there. He probably had a great candidacy to be Player of the Year in the America East, but it's certainly that top. Only 3 guys returning from the regional squad that went to Georgia last year. Bolton, one of them, Mike Strelrick, an infielder, and then Zach Kent, who might be in for Sean Sweeney. A tough injury over the tournament here for Sweeney as he was trying to leg out a ground ball, and sounds like he's going to try and gut it out for tomorrow. 60-40 is what Tim Sinicki put, the percentage that we will see Sean Sweeney in the lineup tomorrow. But he kind of chuckled when he said, those Long Island guys, they call them Strong Island for a reason. And so Sean Sweeney going to give it a go there, and what will probably be as necessary as anything. They'll need all hands on deck to try and counter this great Mountaineer pitching staff.
Jensen Lewis, ESPN baseball analyst, he's on the call this weekend here in Morgantown, is our guest. All right, give us a quick overview of the first game tomorrow. Kentucky and Wake, I think the theme continues. You're going to see some dudes on the hill tomorrow for both teams.
You are, and the dude that's going for Wake Forest might be the biggest arm in the tournament. Chris Lavonis, one of the top arms in the ACC, leads the conference with 10 wins. Guys, speeds up to 101 miles an hour on the fastball. Second highest average fastball velocity at 96.9 to the injured phenom for Oregon State, Dax Whitney, who's at a clean 97 flat. It is big-time power stuff. He's going to come at you with a flourish, and it's also a very athletic lineup. Guys, I think the biggest thing to take away from looking at Wake Forest on paper, and even talking about it with Dalton Wentz, one of their star infielders, and Cade Lewis as well, both those guys kind of alluded to the fact that there wasn't a lot of slug for them maybe in the first half to first 2/3 of their season. But, boy, have they come on in a big way, and the power and the homers have really come here in the last 20 games or so. So I think that's a theme to watch. And then on the flip side here with Kentucky, guys, you're looking at a bubble team that if you ask Coach Nick Mingione, they've been as competitive as any SEC team this year. And, it's going to be a decision between, do they want to run Jackson Jelkin out there, who's been a phenom in his own right? Nate Harris, who has come back here as of late, was a Friday night starter for them, had missed 3 weekends, and then came back on a Sunday in Gainesville. Unfortunately, didn't have his best outing, but has looked really good here the last couple of weeks. So we'll see if it is Jelkin who may be going tomorrow. But I think that rotation in and of itself, if we get that matchup between Jelkin and Lavonis, guys, on paper, I don't know if there's a better pitching matchup for day one than what we'll have at high noon there, watching those two teams go at it.
So, Jensen, just the third time West Virginia has ever hosted a regional, only the second time in the last 70 years. So we know there's going to be a lot of energy in the ballpark tomorrow. How does a team use that but not overuse that?
Well, I think that's the beauty of college baseball, right? You feed off the home field advantage. And as a Vanderbilt grad myself and an alum there, we were on the ground floor of really building the program into where it was, and kind of sit back jealously and watch all those regionals and super regionals go through Tim Corbin's club there in Nashville. A decided home field advantage, guys, and it from the Big 12 conference weekends. When you have that place packed and you have that kind of energy, and it's going to be all the way up the hills. We're going to see standing room only. You're going to see a boatload of Mountaineer fans, not only tomorrow night, but you hope for an opening, win and be able to set up a 1-0 game there on Saturday evening with an even better turnout. So excited to see how they manage it. I'll kind of go back to, something that Max Yale alluded to us, and you guys know this is a hockey guy as a young kid, and that controlled aggression or maybe that borderline, a little psycho coming out when he needs it. I think that's a great thing to take away, is that he's been able to harness that energy. He's been able to put it into what has been just a stellar campaign. And if West Virginia pitches the way that they have, especially down the stretch, and even for the body of work, guys, this year, they should be in the driver's seat headed into Saturday night and eventually into Sunday.
Yeah, it's a great point, Jensen. And from looking at this is not a deep staff. They haven't used a bunch of guys, but the 5 or 6 that they've used most consistently have all been elite this season. They've been fantastic. I know we got to let you run here in just a minute. You've got some meetings coming up here. Before we let you go, though, as a former big leaguer yourself, you have a great eye for what it takes to get to the next level. Give us your take, without watching him live yet, but what you've seen so far and you've watched of Gavin Kelly, his versatility, and he's really burst on the scene. Baseball America had it out a couple weeks ago as the number 1 prospect for the 2027 draft. What do you think of Gavin Kelly?
Man, what an incredible player, but maybe even a better person. And getting the chance to talk to him today, just effusive in his praise for his teammates, but also, to hear Coach Sabins talk about just his incredible versatility. You can put him anywhere. I think Max Yale even said he's a freak and he doesn't even know it. And I think that is one of the great compliments of what he's able to do. Middle of the lineup bat, someone that you lean on. And a faith-based guy, too. I took that away myself as someone who is grounded not only in his faith, but helps really drive his confidence on the field. So an incredible person, a great player, and I think an X factor. Again, we look for stars here as we get to the postseason in college baseball. If your stars perform, you're most likely headed to the middle of America. So first things first, out of the gates tomorrow night with a win, but excited to see what this lineup can do here at home.
Well, perfectly said, my friend. And again, it was nice to meet you this morning. I've said before, I'm a big fan of your morning show on VSiN with Dave Ross, 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time, so we encourage folks to check that out. Welcome to Morgantown. We hope you enjoy your stay, and we'll certainly see you at the ballpark this weekend, and we appreciate you making time for us tonight.
Fantastic. You guys have a great one, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow as well.
All right. Thanks, Jensen. There he is, Jensen Lewis checking in. He'll be on the call tomorrow for ESPN. And you can tell he does a tremendous job, super well prepared, obviously knows the game as a former big leaguer, and and he thinks the world of this Mountaineer team, but knows, as you heard right there, this is a tough regional, Greg. Most everybody has this in the top at the very lowest, the fourth or fifth toughest region out there. So West Virginia's got its work cut out for it.
Yeah, as good as the pitching has been for West Virginia, Wake Forest may have the best pitcher in the field. The hope is the Mountaineers don't have to face him at some point, but then Kentucky's got some dudes. I mean, and it sounds like Binghamton has at least one that'll go against the Mountaineers as well. So you don't get through this without getting some quality wins.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You're not at this stage without everybody having multiple guys, and Binghamton's going to roll a guy out there. And so I think that's the thing for West Virginia is especially early on, especially given how the crowd is going to be, can West Virginia attack early? Can you get up on this team early, get that crowd really lathered up? You don't want it to be one of those nights where you're stringing along and you can't really get a hit and you can't really get it through and he's dealing. So can you jump out in front early, get a win, and then you start the weekend off right? This is going to be a blast. Weather's going to be perfect. People are going to be hanging off the hillside and the rafters and everywhere. This will be a really fun environment for this program.
Absolutely. Should be great.
Yeah, looking forward to it. All right, more to come on that when we get back. Text line's open, 304-8255. 304. If you'd like to join the program, we'll take your questions, comments, and get into those coming up next on the CityNet Statewide Sportsline.
WVU Medicine is home to West Virginia's first and only multi-organ transplant center, making heart and kidney transplants at an academic medical center a reality for people across the state and region. Whether you've struggled with advanced heart failure or kidney disease, the WVU Medicine Transplant Alliance helps people like you find hope and healing on their journey to better health. Visit wvumedicine.org/transplant to learn more.
Boating season is almost here, and there's no better place to start your family's adventure than Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Family owned for over 40 years, Lou and his sons are West Virginia's largest Avalon pontoon dealer and true experts in boats, motors, and repairs. Explore their impressive inventory and score some of the best deals of the season right now. At Lou Wendell Marine Sales, they don't just sell boats, they sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com and get on the water in style. After all, the weekend's almost here.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet Statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on MetroNews, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
The Health Plan proudly supports our active and healthy communities and has been your most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick
We're back for the final segment, sitting at Statewide Sportsline. Brent and Greg with you. A couple of texts. We'll get to those here in just a second. 304-8255-304 if you want to weigh in on what you think happens this weekend at the NCAA Regional. We'll take those, talk a little football, a little basketball. Basketball news today, official. WVU announcing Josan Sannon has signed, the transfer from St. John's and previously Arizona State. So we've talked a lot about him, Greg. His upside is massive. There's a big runway there for a guy that has a lot of talent, that had a little bit of a disappointing season last season at St. John's. He was really good as a true freshman at Arizona State, a guy that many thought as he was entering college that he could be a one and done and a first-round pick into the NBA. That's the kind of talent we're talking about. So Josan Sannon here in place, and those guys are arriving into Morgantown here this week. They'll pick up and work some basketball camps next weekend, and then here we go, Coach. Our basketball season is underway shortly, so we'll be talking about those sessions coming up.
The football kids, and most of the football players had arrived in January, but the remaining newcomers, I don't know if every one of them is in town now, but a number of them checked in at the beginning of this week, got their dorm assignments, and began their workout. So, look out, here it goes.
They got a good 3-week break in May there after school ended, before this week became, and now they're all back and ready to go. Before we dive into it, there is a little bit of football news out there. Rich Rodriguez attending the Big 12 meetings along with Ross Hodge and President Benson and Ren Baker, so we'll get to a little bit of the football discussion from today, but you've got Glenville up on your screen over there. Any movement in that one?
The Pioneers are down to their final innings, their final 3 outs, but they're trying to stay alive. They're down 5-1 to Missouri Southern State, but Missouri Southern State, I don't have the stat line up, but I don't think she's given up a hit, but she's given up a bunch of walks, and she's just walked the first 2 Pioneers to the top of the 7th. So while they're down 4 is Glenville, there is still some hope there, as the pitcher's about to be replaced. Again, how often do you see a no-hitter pulled in the 7th with a 4-1 lead? But
they're pulling her?
They're pulling her.
So my reverse jinx did not work?
No, it didn't help. They got a home run, did the Lions of Missouri Southern shortly after you mentioned it. So that didn't help Glenville in that. But still trying to fight. But again, top of the final inning, down 4 runs, trying to make a little bit of noise.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Again, Glenville's still got a chance to bounce back, even if they don't win this game. Rich Rodriguez was, as I just said, was down the Big 12 meetings. He jumped on a call today just to kind of update folks on what was happening. He did give a little nugget out there that I found interesting, as this discussion of playoff expansion continues to be out in the news. Is it going to be, what's it going to go to, 12 to 16, 16 to 24? What exactly is happening there? And Rich had a comment about the Big 12 coaches.
He revealed that within the Big 12 coaches that it was unanimous that they want to go to 24. And again, you've seen a variety of opinions amongst various conference leaders and coaches and such as to what this number ultimately should land at. But during this meeting, they call it the spring business meetings. It's in Frisco, Texas. And he was on a Zoom call with Joey McGuire from Texas Tech. But Rich said it was unanimous among all 16 coaches that they want to see it to go to 24. And I found this interesting. The Big 12 official that joined them on the Zoom said that, according to their figures, if they'd used 24 as their number last year, the Big 12 would have had 5 entrants. Because while it was, they only ended up with 1 with Texas Tech, but it was that whole middle group was strong, and they felt that they would have had 5 if it were a 2014 playoff. So I found that an interesting number.
It's one of those debates, and I'll be honest, I haven't looked at the plan enough. I haven't vetted this out, so I'm gonna do what you should not do, just kind of talk off the top of my head right here. But I generally find myself in these situations, and the way I look at these always comes from a West Virginia perspective, so I'll admit that up front. I just find myself, when it comes to football, expansion is good. I think I'm just generally in favor of expansion because it just gives more access. And I just don't like the world where we're headed to, where people are trying to make this out to be a 2-league sport. Yeah. I just don't disagree with that. And I disagree with it vehemently when you start to look at the bottom of some of those leagues, I mean, there's some SEC teams that have bad years and are bad football teams. The Big Ten has had some bad football teams the last few years.
Sure.
Purdue shouldn't just get a pass.
Yep.
Rutgers shouldn't just get a pass because they're in that league. And I hate that that's the direction some are trying to take it. So if this is a model that opens that up and allows for, and I didn't know that about the 5 teams. You tell me that, and now you finish in the top 5 in this league and you got a chance to get in, even if you're knocked out in the first round of the playoffs, all right, so be it. At least you've got some access in. I know there's a lot of folks that will say, well, it ruins the regular season. It was the best regular season before. Well, okay, here's the flip side of that. You're in contention for something meaningful longer into the season or deeper into the season. To me, I think that's a good thing. If West Virginia is in the mix for a potential playoff spot and it doesn't have to win the league to get that, and it's the 3rd week in November and you're still mathematically hanging around and you've got a chance, even if you would end the season at an 8-4 or even a 7, okay, great. I'm in for that, Greg. Where am I off on that?
I agree with you, and I again, everybody points to the regular season. Well, there's still going to be so much to play for in the regular season, even if it's expanded and you feel like your entrance is better because you're not only playing for one of those 24 berths, but now add into the home field advantage in the first round or maybe 2 rounds if you do it that way. I mean, how big could that ultimately be? So, I mean, there are a lot of things that you would still you'd point to in the regular season and say, this is massive. If it's not just a berth, there are still other things that are out there above and beyond just that. So, seeding, how often we talk about, in basketball, I mean, that's going to expand. But you're going to look at that, boy, if you could just get a better seed, all of a sudden your first round game's better. There are things to play for and massive things to play for. But I think that home field advantage that you would be playing for at the end of the regular season, not just getting in, but trying to position yourself to host, that would be huge.
And you're going to try and tell me that if West Virginia gets in a playoff and had a host game here, that wouldn't be worth it. You wouldn't even care what the record was. I don't care what they're getting in. Is that 8-4? Is it 9-3? Is it 10-2? Whatever. You're in the playoffs and you're hosting a game over at Milan Puskar Stadium. Yeah. That'd be fantastic. So I just think if there's a way to expand the thing, and that's so again, I reserve my right here. So don't be texting me here in a week if I come back and I change my mind on that. But my general thought is if it expands the field. And that's good for West Virginia and good for the Big 12. I think I'm behind that as a theory. So it sounds like we're in lockstep there with what and I'm sure the coaches are thinking the same thing.
Yeah, more access, the better for them. But think of the recent women's basketball season and the baseball season. I mean, how close we were following those because, you knew West Virginia was in the tournament in both of those,
Great
right?
point, yeah.
But we went down to the wire just holding breaths. Can they get in? Can they host? What's their seed going to be? And they ultimately both got hosting opportunities, which were massive. And what would that be like for football? You come down to the final regular season game, and maybe you're already in the field, but just a win get you a hosting spot rather than number 20. I think that's huge.
Yeah, that's a great point. I hadn't thought of it that way. That's a really good point. Not time to get into it tonight. We didn't have time last night either because the baseball story is so big, but we'll have some time to digest this as it moves through. But a lot of movement, or I shouldn't say a lot. There was significant movement from Congress in their attempt to get involved in college athletics, and it came from the Senators Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell yesterday, and they put a plan out there, legislation out there. And again, Greg, I'll go through some of the things. I don't know how this is not still ultimately challengeable in court with a lot of things that are going to get challenged on day one. But there's some interesting things that have come out. Some of the highlights there include a one-time transfer, the 5-year eligibility rule, and a pro player ban, a hard cap, which I do think that's part of one of the things that gets you in trouble there, a 5% max agent fee, the Lane Kiffin rule, which is in place of saying you can't take another job while your team is still playing. Now, that's one that I think we all agree with. I don't even know if there's administrators or coaches that would disagree with that in principle. I don't know how you can legally force that. That seems like that's
exactly
challengeable all day long. I think that's a common sense thing, but I don't know how you make that happen. But that's in there. Another one that's interesting, the option of pooling TV rights. There's been a lot of talk about that. And there was a caveat in there, again, of all the things that are going to get thrown out that kind of talked about it would preclude the SEC and the Big Ten for being part of that, but the rest of the leagues could pool their rights together if they felt that was valuable. And then it specifically prohibits a super league coming into play. So again, there's a long way from getting to the finish line on this, and who knows how impactful this would actually be. But there were some interesting things in there that I think everybody would agree with, but there's a lot in there that I think is going to get nicked apart as it goes down the line here.
Well, as you said, just because, I think a lot of those things we look at and go, okay, that's a good idea. But just like so much of everything now, what of it can get through the court system and be found legal?
Yeah.
Just because it gets through Congress doesn't mean it's legal.
100% right. And isn't that the point of it? The other part of that, there needs to be some enforcement in there. And more than that, schools just have to agree to follow the rules, or we're going to land here, right? We're going to continue to land here. And I know there's certain leagues that have never followed the rules as long as college sports has been in place, but those schools are going to need to follow the rules, or we're still going to be in chaos. All right, I'll get off the 30-second soapbox.
Nah, good one. I like
All
that
right,
soapbox.
packed show tonight. Tomorrow night, Kyle will be at the softball tournament hosting from down there. Greg and I will be at the NCAA Regional here. We'll check in on the show live from the ballpark tomorrow. Hope to see you there if you're coming out. If not, it's available on ESPN Plus and on the Mountaineer Sports Radio Network. We'll talk to you first of the week. See you, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the MetroNews Radio Network. All rights reserved.